And can we just take a second to admire my basic ass art hole sweater? It's giving early 2000s Tumblr, and I fucking love it. Anatomy of a Fall. I adore this film. I really do. I am pretty much going to spend the rest of this review telling you why I love it. I really don't have anything bad to say about it other than maybe the first act could have been paced a little better, other than that glowing review. I honestly think it's been the best film I've watched this year so far. The logline: a woman is suspected of her husband's murder. Obvious. Okay, this script is so tight. It's got a great first, second, clean third act. First act, setup. Tells us what's happened to the husband. He fell off the third floor. They're trying to figure out if it's an accident. Oh, the sun just went behind a cloud, so there goes my lighting. And because of the certain circumstances regarding the accident, it is looking more like it could be an attempted murder than an accident. And this is explained in the second act, where the wife's side, the defendant, shows that he personally really like that. And the film consistently along the way reminds us what are the facts, reminding us to keep in mind what is real at the end of the day, which is very cool considering that this is 153 minutes of fiction. This film is thrilling because it's throwing all this information. You're getting not overwhelmed, but you're doing your best as the audience member to take in all of that and trying to keep your own opinion on the case. Like, who are you suspecting? Who do you think did it? What do you think really happened? You have all these questions in your head, but before you even have a chance to take a breath and really answer them for yourself, the film, frankly, at this point, I don't even care who did it, because I don't really think it matters who did it by the end of it. It's the aftermath that matters, the people who are left behind. And I think that is kind of what the filmmaker was trying to say too with the ending. So many things that I liked about the script. Clear first, second, and third acts. Third act was a little bit short, but because the film is done so satisfyingly, you kind of almost don't fault them for it even. In my head, the third act begins at the son's last test. Main relationship in this film lies with the husband, the wife, and the child, and how it's all connected. And it's a film that is less he said, she said, and more, I suppose there's two sides to everything. The film goes above and beyond to remind us of that constantly, not just via written lines, but also in cinematic approach, in terms of like, what you see may not be what it is. Documentary cinematography approach for this film was an excellent one. The shots are framed really clean, natural lighting, minimalistic approach supports the narrative like a graceful first mate who is doing a lot of work but quietly, without stealing attention from the captain. The cinematography was the narrative and director's right hand in telling the story. Sound design would be the left. Again, much like the cinematography, the sound design was pretty minimal and clean for the first part. It wasn't anything fancy, by the hands of a deliberate, thoughtful director, it is used to show so much more. And I'm personally of the camp where sound is 51% of film, so this got me pumped. My favorite part of this was during the trial, where the husband and wife had a fight. It was total reenactment, also very documentary in approach, but instead of showing the violence during the reenactment, it cuts back to the courtroom, and we hear it instead on top of shots of reaction shots of people's faces across the courtroom. And that has to do with pacing. That has to do with the filmmaker not wanting you to know about certain elements in the story yet. It leaves your imagination to fill in certain blanks, and it keeps you engaged in the story. Fucking excellent shit all around. I would also like to take the opportunity to besiege the director and the team of Anatomy of the Fall to strongly consider adapting Albert Camus' The Stranger. First of all, it's a French book, and there's only been one adaptation to it, and it was done by the Italians. It was a terrible adaptation. Please don't bother watching the film. Read the book if you want to. But I would love an adaptation of it done by the hands of these people. Part 2 of the book has a lot to do with a trial that the lead character goes through as well, where people aren't sure whether or not to sympathize with him because they aren't really sure exactly what happened and whether or not he's at fault. He comes across as apathetic in the book, but I feel like in the hands of Justine Triet and her team, she would be able to walk the line in terms of finding sympathy, able to walk the line of Is he innocent or just an apathetic man? Are things beyond his control happening to him and he's just going along with it the only way he knows how? Or is it his passivity that has to do with the events that is the result of why things are coming worse? Mu is an absurdist, and so the book kind of like discusses like, really, is there a point in doing certain things if things are just going to turn out the same anyway? Yeah, anyway, food for thought, Justine. I really hope you consider thinking it, especially because French is your mother tongue. The book is written in French, and do we really want Camus' legacy adapted solely in the hands by the Italians? This film just felt so real. You got invested. You want to know what happens to the very end, and you want to know everything. A film that asks for your patience and rewards it. Just great pairing of sound design on top of reaction shots of people in the courtroom. Great direction and blocking in the courtroom. Camera movement, so we're never actually visually bored when all these facts of the case are coming towards us. Fucking A+ all around, and a masterclass, honestly, in clean directing. It teaches us how to toe the line between drama and silence, and how to make a great film without the bells and whistles of fancy lighting or VFX or a huge set and production design. I'm not saying those are bad. I'm just saying that you can also just do a film and keep it clean with all of those things. And to see it on a feature scale, see it done so well, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Yeah.